What's up, fantasy football fans? And I didn't introduce myself last two videos or whatever, so I'll just take the time to do that now. This is Mitchell from Fantasy Football Real Talk. I've just been saying this Fantasy Football Real Talk, but who am I to not introduce myself? My name is Mitchell, so if you got any questions, you can ask me by name or whatever have you. But yeah, so far. I just posted those first two videos yesterday, and I put up the Twitter page and got it activated yesterday. And so far, the response is kicking a little momentum. So keep watching and keep staying tuned with everything. And I've been getting a lot of questions that's saying they want to know some more specific things in terms of players, in terms of what draft strategies to take in terms of which players to do, positions to go, or whatever to do first to get yourself going, and how many quarterbacks to take, how many receivers, running backs, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, that was going to be the next videos coming up. So thanks for asking for that. And so we'll get started with that with this video. This video is going to be standard draft techniques in terms of positioning, who to pick, and this, that, or the other. And on subsequent videos, I'll be talking about my rankings in terms of positional rankings. So this one right here, though, will be strategies in terms of more positions, and maybe we'll mention a few people along the line, and I'll cover a couple of drafts that I did just as some indicators of what I do. First thing, this is going to be based on 10-team standard leagues. And what that is y'all already know, 10-team snake draft. It's got a good the good probability always of being even teams across the board for the 10 teams to draft. If you just use half a brain in your body, you'll be able to get a solid team because it's going in a specific order that doesn't change. So if you just pay attention to basic rankings, you'll do fine. But if you jump the gun, take some of your own initiative and do some upside plays or some intuitive plays or some just gut feeling plays, you'll shake things up and possibly win out. And that's what helps you win when you take chances. So first question is usually the one that's asked more than anything else to anybody who does this type of thing in terms of giving any advice. What do you pick first in a draft? First things first, it's all about what position you have in the draft. If you got the first pick, if you got the fifth pick, if you've got the 10th pick, it's going to be different. Determine what you should get, whether it be running back, receiver, or quarterback, or whatever have you. So that's the first thing. It's going to be based on where you're positioned to draft. Secondly, there's no hard and fast rule to what you should get as your first pick in general, no matter your positioning. There's a lot of people, since as far back as I've been playing, since 2005, that subscribe to the theory of always take a running back first, because it's the prime position in terms of fantasy points intake. I've never really subscribed to that theory wholeheartedly. I understand the approach. It's the one position where you can get carry points, meaning rushes, and you can also get catch points, whatever, meaning receptions. And it's notably the most thin position in terms of true elite skill. So I get it. But if that theory holds true, that makes people have to feel they got to reach for running backs when there's better value at other positions. That's why it's not always true. If you can nail down one of the prime elites, and this year, the prime elites are 4 people: Adrian Peterson, LaShawn McCoy, Jamal Charles, and Matt Forte. If you have one of the first 4 picks and no one took, say, a quarterback first or whatever, and one of those come up to you, or if you got any one of the picks among the 10, and it comes to you, one of those 4 guys, absolutely take those guys, because those guys are game changers. They're pass catchers along with good running backs, and they're elite at that. So, and they can't be duplicated if something were to happen to any of them. Nobody's going to come off the waiver and spell them for what the production they give. So if you got a chance to get one of them, basically what I'm saying is the first 4 people in every draft should be taking one of those 4 guys. It doesn't always happen that way at all, but that's the thing to that. If that happened and you have the 5th pick, I have absolutely no problem with you taking Peyton Manning. I've got no problem with it being Aaron Rodgers if that's what you chose, or Drew Brees if that's what you chose. Basically what I'm saying is 5th pick can be a running back easily. Quarterback easily. Because one, the argument is always, and you hear it in draft chat boards, quarterback is where it's at because they get the most points. Yeah, a quarterback, the top probably 6 point leaders in fantasy in a given year will be a quarterback, but that's not the point. It's about what you do during the week to help you win the week, not total points, because if you got a quarterback that threw a 50-point game, that might get you, that's going to pretty much guarantee you the win. But if you win by 2 points or 50 points, it doesn't matter. It's all about, so basically what I'm saying is if you had, say, Tony Romo, and that would have got you a win, that means if you got Tony Romo and waited late, you could have got a really good running back or receiver or both or whatever have you and waited to get Tony Romo as opposed to putting all the eggs in Peyton Manning, though he had that blow-up game. It's all about winning the week, not having the most fantasy points. Get that straight now if you don't have it straight already. A lot of people try to tell you the other way around, and it's just not true. But again, I'm all for a quarterback, and I'm not even mad if you took a quarterback first. With the way Peyton Manning is, the way Drew Brees' point in yards production is, same as Aaron Rodgers. He's raring for a comeback year after getting hurt the end of last year. So if you do that, that's fine. Also, I'm not opposed to taking certain pass catchers within the first round, and it's only 2 though: Calvin Johnson and Jimmy Graham. It is so rare that I would say a tight end deserves first round merit. But what Jimmy Graham does is unlike what anyone else not only does but can do. He makes that position basically into 2. You're getting your tight end coverage, and he's covering the butts of any receivers who slack during the week. So especially in a PPR situation. So Jimmy Graham almost serves as 2 positions in one. That's why he's a plus addition in any first round. So if you look up and get him in anywhere, like you get the 10th pick and he's there at 10, absolutely get him. Same as Calvin. Calvin, I don't have to talk about it. There's no one in his class. The argument, debatable point is whether Demaryius or AJ Green are the heirs to it or have the ability close to it. They do, but there's no one like Calvin, and Calvin is worth first round value. So if you also have a later pick or even a mid pick, it's all about preference. So basically my point is the first round should be one of those 4 that I named running backs: Charles, Peterson, Forte, McCoy. That's 4. Aaron Rodgers, Brees, and Manning, that's 7. Jimmy Graham, Calvin, that's 9. And the 10th person could be basically your flavor of whatever you like. It could be Marshawn Lynch if you chose that. I think he's a first round possibility. Some people don't think so this year because they feel they're trying to move him out and move in Christian Michael. So it depends. Eddie Lacy could be a 10th pick easily. Again, Demaryius could be as well. It just really depends on what you want to do. So again, don't subscribe to it's got to be a running back away, and definitely don't reach on a not so elite running back when you've got an elite quarterback or elite receivers or Jimmy Graham on the board. A lot of people ask, after you've taken your first pick, and let's say it was a running back, you got Adrian Peterson first, and at, say, 20, you end up getting someone like, I don't know, uh, Julius Thomas or Julio Jones, somebody like that. So let's say it's Julio Jones. And so that's the end of the second round. You ended up with Julio Jones. So you now have a running back and a wide receiver. The question often is, so what do I take third? Do I just go back running back again, or do I go back receiver again? Or if you didn't have the 10th pick and you had earlier picking, do you go running back, running back? To me, it's about after the first pick, the second pick needs to be best value. So if you got Adrian Peterson and you got Julio Jones, you determine that Julio is best value. Your third pick most definitely needs to be best value between the two, between whatever position you don't have. If you got two running backs, your third pick needs to be a receiver, best available value. If you had a quarterback and a running back in your first two picks, your third pick would sound good to be a receiver because you're trying to flesh this team out. But none of that is a hard rule to subscribe to. Best value wins every time, whatever it is. I have a draft that I did recently. I got it pulled up right now on an ESPN draft. I had the 7th selection, I want to say. Let me pull it up right now to look exactly. Yeah, I had a 7th pick, and this was a pick where a draft where quarterbacks were going early. Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers were within the first 6 picks. I got Matt Forte with 7. I got Doug Martin with 14, and I got Zach Stacy with 27. You would think, why would you take 3 running backs straight? You can't leave value like Zach Stacy on the board just because you think you need a receiver next or a quarterback next. And after you've missed the quarterbacks after the first 3 rounds, you might as well wait to the double-digit rounds because there's nobody worth reaching for. So it's all about value. When I took Zach Stacy with the 27th pick, Alshon Jeffrey was on the board, Antonio Brown was on the board, Andre Johnson was on the board, and then that's about the top. Randall Cobb and Larry Fitzgerald. That's about the Vincent Jackson. That's about the tops of where the receivers were left when I had that 3rd pick. Zach Stacy is gonna be more valuable than them all day. And so I came back around after that, got 3 straight receivers. I got 3 running backs to start. I got Andre Johnson in the 4th, Randall Cobb in the 5th, and Roddy White in the 6th. So in 6 picks, I've made already what's heading to be what I see as a stud team. But it wasn't about if you got 2 running backs, get 2 receivers. It was about best value. That's going to win you every draft. Looking at the value on the board and getting the best value. And when I say best value, I'm talking about logical value, because I was in an auction draft recently where somebody auctioned and bought Aaron Rodgers. They came back immediately after auction and bought Drew Brees. That's crazy. You don't need but 2 quarterbacks on a team, period. And you definitely don't want to put all your eggs in the 2 best ones. You're going to lose every value because one's going to be sitting all year if you don't come to your senses enough to trade them later. So that's not what we mean by value. And I'll get to that in a second about the most amount of any position you should have on your team. One other point, wait late before you pick a defense. Anything before round 10 for a defense is way too early. And that goes for even Seattle defense. If you really like Seattle defense and you want to pick them at the 10th round or the 11th round, okay, you can. They're a good defense and they're the best defense, but they're not that much better than the 2nd or 3rd best defense to warrant an early pick like that. That's why it's safe to say I will never own the Seahawks defense, because I'm not willing to pay what people are else going to jump in and get them for. In terms of if that's an auction or if it's a draft, people are going to always jump in and get that defense in the 8th or 9th round, and if that's the case, you can have them. I'm never going to own the Seahawks where I value them to be. So knowing that if you're going to think like I do and won't have the Seahawks because you're not going to go that high, wait till the last 2 rounds. Treat them like a kicker, man. Get somebody formidable like the Rams, like the Cardinals, like the Chiefs. If you can pull that off, the Panthers will probably be gone. But any of those Chiefs, Cardinals, Rams, Broncos, 49ers, they might be gone too. But those will be more than suitable picks for the last 2-3 rounds. It'll be just fine. You don't have to panic and get a defense. Don't let when defenses start flying off the board because that first dude took the Seahawks. Don't let that make you think you got to get yours either. Wait to get a defense. You're going to be dropping a D just about every few games, especially when the bye comes up. And if they're not performing, you're going to drop them for whoever is. So they're not worth it. They're basically waiver fodder waiting to happen, all of them, with the exception of a few elites. And then those elites come and go quickly within years anyway. So don't reach on the defense. It's just not worth it. Same as that theory. If you don't land Jimmy Graham like in the first or second round early, or don't get Gronk in like the 3rd or 4th, or don't get Julius Thomas in the 3rd or 4th, treat tight end like you do defense. Wait on it. Start building value everywhere else and wait on the team, on a tight end rather. Because tight ends are just like defense where, not like defense. Let me go back. Let me backtrack. Tight ends after the best 3, Graham, Gronk, and Julius Thomas, they're about all the same. Dennis Pitta, Kyle Rudolph, Jordan Reed, the possibility of Zach Ertz. Who else we got? This thing could go. Jason Witten, et cetera, et cetera. They're all pretty much about the same. Some are better. Jason Witten, solid. Vernon Davis. Jason Witten, Vernon Davis. These are solid guys, but they're not discernibly better than if you wait till the end and pick up, say, Jordan Reed or Zach Ertz or somebody like that. Charles Clay. These guys are going to get you the point outage that most of the guys would have got you anyway. Sans Gronk, sans Jimmy Graham, sans Julius Thomas. So they're worth waiting on too if you don't get an absolutely elite one of them as well. And by all means, for God's sake, never take a kicker before the damn last 2 rounds or the last round. Please, please, please. And I'm talking about all those that think Matt Prater is going to save the day. All those that think that Gostkowski is going to save the day. It's not going to save the day. One kicker is a kicker is a kicker is a kicker. Sure, Prater might have had more points than this guy. Gostkowski might have had more points than this guy, et cetera, et cetera. They're all about the same, and they're all going to go through them ebbs and flows that they all go through. They'll have this crazy game where Justin Tucker, breaks a fantasy record. Then the next week, he could very well get 3 or 4 points. Just don't do it. And if someone wants Matt Prater that bad that they're going to spend an 8th round pick on him, let them have him and laugh at him. Please don't be that guy either. It's just not logical. Okay? Thank you. You have 7 bench spots on your team. Your bench needs to consist of, by the end of your draft, your bench needs to consist of those 7, 3 of them need to be running backs, 3 of them need to be receivers, period. Just about a hard and fast rule for me. Where you're going to be needing replacement depth throughout the year is for them 2 running back spots, them 2 receiver spots, and that flex. It'll usually be a receiver or a running back. Get 3 of each in your 6 bench spots. The last bench spot can be, if you want to back up a quarterback that you got, say you got Colin Kaepernick and you don't trust him fully. Say your starting quarterback is Russell Wilson and you don't trust him fully. So you come around in the end and back him with Phillip Rivers, fine. Good deal. That's what you need to do. If you've got Gronk Gronk is an injury risk. We don't even know if he's going to start the beginning of the year. So your seventh player on the bench, you want to back him with a Charles Clay or a Zach Ertz, fantastic. But the core, from 5 to 6 players, the core of your bench needs to be the prime positions, running back and receiver. And get upside players when you're getting them. Get the players that have the potential the potential to break out. The ability is what I was trying to say, to break out. The potential. I was saying potential and ability at the same time. I said ability to break out. Someone like who I'm taking at the end of every draft. I'm taking Brandon Cooks. He's the Saints rookie receiver that they're lining up all over the field, and Drew Brees is raving about him. And he's got a ton of looks that he's going to get with the absence of Darren Sproles and the absence of Lance Moore. And he has it all set up for him to do some big things this year. And I'm expecting it. I don't believe this is a fluke. Players like him and just Kelvin Benjamin, different players like that, Mike Evans, players that have supreme upside. That's what you want to do. Same with the running backs. Pick up a Terrence West, because he's got prime position to battle it out to battle it out with Ben Tate if and when he gets hurt, because he probably will. Get a Christian Michael, because this Marshawn Lynch thing is questionable. Who knows? But you want to get upside players to do this. So I think that pretty much covers a whole lot of what you should and should take. Just remember, you don't have to take running backs first. If you got one of the first 4 picks, you got 4 good running backs up there that says go get them. But if they're gone, all 4 getting a quarterback, all 4 getting Calvin or Jimmy Graham. Then after that, just start looking at making sure you're filling your roster up. And to close this, I'm going to say the same thing I said in my first video about this. 2 indicators of a good draft. No, 1 indicator of a really good draft. Who you land in your flex. The player that you got that's your first of between the 3rd receiver or running back, whichever came first, is showing how well you drafted. If your flex player is C.J. Spiller, like that's been happening to me pretty well, you've done well. If Rashard Jennings is your flex, you've done well. If even better, you can get Andre Ellington as your 3rd running back, you're killing it. Your flex should be your guide to how well you're choosing and how well you're making things go. And to close, just like I said in the previous video, no day in the fantasy year is more important than draft day. None. No day. You can't combat mistakes that you make in the draft on the waiver. You can't combat mistakes that you make in the draft through trades. Some you'll be able to maybe pull off, but on the grand scale, that day is most important. Make it to your draft. If you can't make it to the draft, don't play in that league. Don't join that league. Don't let auto draft determine your year. No more days important. Be prepared. Know who you want to go with. Go with the game plan. Write down some of the things I just suggested. So that'll be it right there. So subscribe, like this video, put any comments up. If you got who would you pick before this guy or that guy, feel free to ask and I'll answer as soon as I can. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at FF Real Talk, and just give me a follow there. You want to ask questions about stuff there, sits and starts once the season gets started and everything, I'll be more than willing to answer. So I hope this answers some of your questions, and I look forward to speaking to you next time. Oh, and what's coming up next is going to be my primers in terms of positions. I'm going to have a separate video for each one: receivers, running backs, tight ends, and quarterbacks, tight ends, and defense together. So check those out and look for them. And until next time, we'll see you. Peace.